The video on part 4 is all about the battery cables. That was the last one. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just taking off this feed from this in the plastic tank there. It's getting in the way of throttles and all of that stuff there, and I have a better setup for that there, a more original setup that's going to be bolted on there. So I took out the 2 bolts. I'm going to have to get this out as well. So what I'm going to start doing now, I think, is taking off the air filter, checking it for oil, bolt missing there, we'll put one through there, bolt and nut, get all these off as well, and we'll start seeing what this pipe is like. One reason why the throttle is so bad is you can see how worn this is, and that's going to be sucking air in all around. And if it's that bad this side, it's usually the other side it's worse, because that's where the connection to the throttle is, and the gears are moving the throttle causes that to jump all over the place. So I've an overhauled one of them that'll be fitted as well. So yeah, plenty going on. Trying just to keep the videos, we'll say, like the first one being kind of like on wheel hubs and bearings. I'm not finished that yet because I haven't ordered the hub seal. And the reason why I haven't ordered that is I'm not sure. I'm fairly sure I'll have to order some more parts, and I don't want to go ordering them until I have everything on the list. These should have captive nuts in them, and I get all this off, then I can start, you know, it'll make it easier for looking to see what's going on. There are all these wires in there, see what's what. Definitely going to bring the horn and put it in there, and I probably replace the horn switch as well. I have a nice one there. He said to go ahead and do that if he thinks it'll tidy things up a bit. So there should be 4 of these bolts going in there. I had to retread these on 2 of these on Ferguson 20. These are behind me there at my own one. There's videos on that. Not loose yet, it isn't, no, it's still coming. So yeah, the last video I just looked there, it's over an hour long, but I was nearly going to make it into 2 videos, but I was like, you know what, keep it all in one place, because if someone's looking at the video and they're thinking of doing the job themselves, they'll see, you know, all the information in one place. How I went about tidying up the cables and the leads and all of that. So I said I keep it in one. So this will come out. I'll loosen off then 2 jubilees, and hopefully, all going well, everything will slide apart handy enough. We'll get a look at this situation in the air filter there, the oil bath and the bottom of it. They're all nice original. Over the years a lot of these ended up wrong and stuff. These are all very nice. I'd be very happy with that. It's nice having all these original bolts. Just the right length, they're the right thread. Okay, so that's that. So we need a screwdriver now. And see, some of these original jubilees can be a pig. The slot can end up being too wide. No, we're coming. But if I can get them off, I can put them in the vise at least, and I can deepen the slot with a hacksaw blade. I even get one off. I'm doing well. This one isn't great. This is just full of paint. So I'll just move the camera in case I go shooting forward. Maybe this side would be better, just so you can see what's going on. And tap it to just, yeah, focus it. Yeah, some of these can just be a disaster altogether. Yeah. Okay, we'll leave that one on. This one's coming. Lovely. Right. That's it. That's lovely. Yeah, this is an original pipe. Don't mind reusing that again. hacksaw blade in it there. I'll try a different screwdriver. Let's give it a tap as well. I might just crack the threads a little bit. It's just not really. Going in far enough. No, it's just coming out. Do you know what? We might be able to just make do with it. Yeah, we will. At least this one's loading. This one's loosening, so we'll leave good enough alone. Once the pipe is okay, I don't mind. So that's loosened off. Okay. Put our bolts back in. So we have them all in one place. You can see some original earths here, actually, interesting enough. That's where the earth would have been originally. It was actually on the back of this, believe it or not. So someone just yanked the wire off that. It's a nice brass eyelet connector there. Can you get the loom? If I'm not mistaken, that's where the earth goes. So that's why I like to take my earth from this frame, because it's attached to the chassis. Like, keep your earth up out of the way. Like, you don't want. I prefer not to be looking at wires around an engine. Okay, that's good. We'll use that bracket as well. Okay, so I'm going to slowly, I think, right? I'm going to where will I go now? I'd start tidying up this wire here. This is something I can do, and it's getting in the way there of everything. And because if I just do this one by one, we'll know where every one of the wires goes. So it goes from behind it, comes from behind the key. So check all the connections, give it a quick squeeze, and it goes onto connection there. Right, so that's what we're looking at there, and it's just way too long. Yeah, it's a nice heavy wire, really heavy. Don't like any of them being bare there at all. So look, we'll bring it over here. Actually, what I might do is I'll just get a length off it. So we're going to route this all up behind. We're going to run it along the battery lead. That's for a bit anyway. Might as well cable ties to that out of the way. Black cable ties won't stand out. So we'll run it up there. I think the safest place is to keep it out of all of here. And the throttle rods. So we'll run it up. What is that there? Little wire there. It's a little wire, so there's a gap in there. We'll run it up through there. Out of harm's way. Bring it up here. Because the bolt there I'll be using for the better gas tank. So we'll pull that. A little bit of length to it. Don't want it hitting throttle rods. Get out of the way of the throttle rod. Yes, we can cable tie that there, and then a bit of length. So we're talking about there. So I think I have a snip to the other side there. I'll snip it straight away. So you want to give yourself just, give yourself enough, but don't have it hanging down in the way and get caught up in things. So it's a bit too long, yeah, you can cable tie it, and hide it. So maybe we could cable tie it into this here. So follow that a bit. There. So if we cut it there, we'll have plenty. Okay. Now we'll take it off. And bring it over to the bench, and we'll just get this bit of wire sorted. Get it. It's a nice heavy wire, so do a nice job on it. Right, get my box of tricks. Electrical box. Come back there now and I found the electrical box. Paired, and it takes a yellow spade connector on it. Don't mind even, usually I have to get rid of the yellow bit, but because it's under the bonnet, I don't mind. Usually I put heat shrink around that, but since it's not going to be seen, it just has to be functional. So that's that, and that other end is sheesh, it's not great, is it? Yeah, I might replace him as well. I think I have more of them there. They're not a very common size. They're usually the bigger spade connector. If I don't, I'll leave it be if I can't get one. I don't come across them that often now, so I don't. It's usually the big ones you get. Yeah, so we're out of luck with that, but it's still, I'll just give it a squeeze there and see how is it looking. It's strong anyway, that's the main thing. So look, we'll say nothing. It looks to be, again, they're not ones I come across too often at all. So put them on in there. Again, it's not going to be seen. Just once it's functional, I don't mind too much. It's a strange angle for it to be at. I can't really see where it is. It's only go by feel. Yeah, there we go. It's facing forward, which isn't great because it means you're putting an awful bend in the wire. And we said we're just going to run that along in there. Run it up as far as we can along the main positive feed in the battery cable. And then we're going to keep our wire out of the way here, tie it into this. Some of this wiring does look a bit tatty, but it is only masking tape, so I'll be going over all of that. That's a nice click there now. And yeah, I might route that out of the way as well. Put 2 washers on this bolt for putting that back on. So I think we're better off routing that, those wires along in there with the battery cable and up through there. Probably. Or I'll put a bracket from there maybe. Bracket out, cable tie them all in nice and neat. That's too long, I could be rubbing off that, so it's the charge light. You know, shorten that, put a new connection on it, so put the charge light there. Okay. Don't like that just with vibrations, so of course the cable ties can sort a lot of that. I'm making new earths here as well. I don't know, can you see that? Took out some of the bits that we don't need here for the time being, like the regulator and stuff like that. He's not using that, so that's going to be our new earthing point there. Probably can't see it, it's just, there you go, cleaned it off with the Dremel. So that's a nice earth there for the lights, because that was on a very rusty bracket there, so that's going to be going in there. The horn is going to be going on top of there as well. And there's the earth for the horn, so that's going to be going through a bolt there as well. So we'll be putting a bolt through the whole lot. Something like this. Okay, I'm picking up this on the other side of him there as well, like that. Pushing the whole lot through the hole. and that's starting to hurt a few things, so we'll be able to cable tie them out of the way. The horn, we can bend the bracket then to wherever we need it to be out of the way, nice and straight, and it'll be up out of the way, out of the weather, out of the wet, and yeah, that should work. And then we have the other connection here, so we'll be able to cable tie all of that out of the way, so the charging light lens just fell out there. So we'll push that back in and just see where everything might be sitting. So that will be there. Charging bulb just pushes into that, into the dash. So that's a little bit tight. So what we'll do is we'll push our horn inwards, maybe, and bend the bracket to where we need it to be. Something like that. That'll work. Put on our nut and bolt quick, our nut and our washer quickly. I get the washer again. I just want to roughly position all of this in place there. We'll get an idea where things are going to be. So earth is not down on the engine there, as you saw earlier on. Wait, they're caught up in there. It is up under the bonnet here, where the earth, on the same bracket the earth would have originally been. So we can bend all of these tabs into place. All of that can be cable tied around there. So we're going to keep all of that out of the way of the bonnet. So some of these are going to have to be shortened, that's no problem at all. Yeah, that's all going to work out fairly well, I think. I have to bend the horn flat out this way, hide all that mess underneath it. That's no bother. I'm just trying to see, you know yourself, when you have a bunch of wires here and there, you kind of can start seeing where you're going to start cable tying and making little looms. So I think that's going to work. At least the wires are too long, we can always shorten and put new connections on the ends of the new connectors. So yeah, we're getting there. Don't want to go putting on too much because I'm going to have to take off more. So some of these bolts are very, very loose there. Putting the right ones then in, right size, putting in rubber underneath the tank there if it doesn't have any. It's got these lovely little square rubber strips, so that was hand tight. So we'll be able to put in a nice big bolt in there. See if the captive nuts are under there. They are, yeah, so we'll be able to replace them. There's no rubber underneath there, so that's a bit dangerous because it will wear. So we'll put a little bit of rubber underneath the rubber pads. I'm going to lift it, I'll test fit it to make sure it's not sitting on that. I am going to put trim over that like I did on the 35 and stuff like that, the go belly. And I'm going to have to look into rerouting these light wires as well. Some of the connections are really, really, really loose, so they're going to need a little squeeze. But we'll get around to all of that. I might put a bracket off here maybe when I put on the high gas tank, and what I'll do is I might put another bracket on there just to keep that tied out of the way, so I'm not over happy with that. See, that's loose there as well, so that'll need a little pin through it. So plenty of little jobs for doing. So welcome back to, what is this, part 5. So I'm just tipping away here. I'm just trying to tidy up some of these wires that look like they're not really being used for anything. So they seem to be, one of them seems to be a bit of an earth. So I just took off the nut there, and there's a washer on it there. So this is a blanking plate for the primer pump, and I was told that the owner wants the primer pump to be refitted. It makes it easier for bleeding the system and all of that. So that's what I'm going to do. So it's just simple little 1/2 inch nut, and we'll take off this. We'll take off the plate then, and don't really need to do this now, I suppose, but I just want to have a look in behind it and see how hard this is going to be to remove. As in, was there some form of gasket, glue or anything used on it, or it doesn't seem to have been leaking anyway. The engine is going to be getting an oil service anyway. I just don't really like the look of what I see on the dipstick. It's very watery, very, very black. I could be getting a fuel filter as well. But definitely the fuel system will function a bit better with this primer pump in it, well, and we'll be able to get rid of some of the fuel pipes there, like coming from the tank tap there, or a little kind of homemade kind of bits of rubber kind of jubble-lead onto metal pipes and all of that. So I think installing the new primer pump, lift pump, will with the proper pipes will improve that. Paint is a bit flaky, alright. It looks like it was painted without primer. Okay, so there we go. Looks like a bit of the old gasket was on that still. So maybe clean that all off. That's no problem. Be able to scratch all that away and get in with the Dremel. Put a bit of cloth in there to stop any dirt going in, and we should be able to clean that up, no problem at all. The dipstick is very bent and there's no seal on it, so it's very loose, so I'll be putting a seal on that, or I'll be looking in my stock there for a better one. So that's that. I'm just going to quickly put back on the two nuts and the washers, just to keep them, because that's not a job I'm going to be doing exactly right away. I'm working more so on tidying up the wire in there and getting things out of the way. You have to be careful there that when you're near this hole in the block there, that you don't go dropping your nuts in it, in through the hole, obviously. Okay, it's very worn. So I'll try and take that off and fill it with grease. I have seen them worse. Usually fill them with grease. That and sort that. Okay, I see another earth here. I'm sorting all my earths out into putting them in one place. That's one here. So I had that started loosening that already. So this seems to be an earth for lights. So we'll move that up to our common earth that I put in yesterday there. Up out of the way. So I have to shorten this. Shorten this wire, I don't mind. Okay, I'll put that bolt back in there. Yeah, common earth is always the best, because if one thing works from it, they all work from it. And you just pick a place that has a good connection with the chassis and clear it up well, do it once. So mine is going to be there. You can just see I've cleaned down the metal, and that can go on there as well. But I have a feeling, is the eyelet big enough for the bolt? It is. Yeah, it is. So we'll be able to, cable tie. I'm not going to be, I was considering doing a full rewire, to be honest with you, on this, but look, I think the owner is more concerned with just sorting out just the hard starting and all of that. So I will most likely, as I said earlier in the last video, strap these up out of the way, you know, but they're not seen and they're not going to be getting caught in things. So I will be able to, this is a bit longer, I'll cable tie it in along there. I'll run a cable tie through there and we'll work it so that it's going to attach on there nice and safely. I don't mind wires being too long, it's when they're too short that they can start causing bother. So I'm just going to quickly throw the bolts through that, just to have that much done. Okay, so where is it here? Yeah, so I'll throw, when I have this done, I'll throw a cable tie around that. I'm going to put it through the bolt this side. Again, if possible, always just, I prefer just to hide them. Hide as much wires as possible. This is just what I did on my own Ferguson 20Ds. Took a nert off here and never had any problems. It's nice strong metal, cleans up well. You don't need to be getting a nert from a cast iron part, like, or a casting channel, you know, like engine or anything like that for your lights and charging system. That'll do fine. It's up there out of the way. You have 3 arcs coming off that now instead of them being all over different places on the engine. So I'm happy with that. So that is one of the bolts that came out of the fuel tank, and the threads are just wrecked on it. So I've plenty of them 1/2 inch UNF fine thread bolts around in the shed here, so I'll definitely go and use them. On the front here we're missing a bolt in there, there's no bolt there. So, and on this side here we have one, and there's an actual nut on the end of that, so it's probably too narrow. There is meant to be threads in there. I think they're a coarse thread, I think, on the front and a fine on the back. So I'll whip that out. I'm starting to think now is probably the best time to take off this tank. I want to put a funnel in a can. I want to start collecting the fuel, strain it going into the can, and then I want to do a wash out of this. I want to check the tap on it for blockages. Some of them can get very blocked with dirt because there's a kind of a right angle here, so you'll find a lot of dirt there. I want to take off this, check the cork gasket in behind. You can get a lot of blockages in there as well. It is turning off, that's okay, that's good, we'll turn it off. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'll take it off there as well, have the fuel turned off. Take that out. I know this pipe here is leaking up there, he was saying that. So we'll get that sorted. Might just need a new olive, it's definitely leaking. All of these injector spill off banjo bolts are dry, that's good because they can be a right pain to seal. So that's good. Bleed screws are there, that's an original one, that's not an original. We'll take off the 2 inspection lads here and the inspection cover, and we'll make sure that rack is going fully forward and back. It's important it goes forward fully because this gives the maximum fuel. There's a big spring in there. Yeah, so that's roughly the direction we're going to be going, along with service and stuff like that. I see this Jubilee here is tightened, but it's not tightened around the hose pipe, so we'll give him a tighten up. So that sort of stuff is what we're going to be doing. It's already starting to look a little more tidy here. I am going to be routing all these wires, you know, in a way that they're going to cable tie together as much as possible. You know, if we have 2 of them there, we can cable tie them, maybe put them to the other side of here, you know, match them all up, get as much of them together, that kind of thing. And I have a nice bit of trim picked out for here just to cover all that up as well, like I had on the 35X and on my take off this injector spill off pipe going into the tank here. So 7/16, so we get a feel for what's going on here. feels like it's been fairly put on fairly tight and it's still leaking, so just going to take it nice and easy. Yeah, we're coming there. Jesus, it was leaking at that tight now, I tell you. I wonder what the threads are like up there. Getting fairly rounded. It is coming. The threads are good anyway, it's just, I think the olive at the end is just probably a bit squashed. And nearly there. There's brass fitting in. Just have to take your time with these. No quick way about it. Make sure that's loose, otherwise lift the tank off. Then once I take off the fuel pipe from the tap there, I should be good to go. This will probably just keep spinning because the pipe itself will be pushed in, so I just want to make sure it's definitely loose and fully. It seems to have a bit of a grip on it. Yeah, we're loose. So the next one is going to be this lad here. It looks like usually 11 16ths is what they're usually, but so that's that out there. That's what we wanted, and we have to hit this lad now, so the fuel turned off. So I'll just get the spanner and come back. Right, I'm just going to put the spanner on the other side of it here because I don't want it to loosen in there. There we go. Isn't too bad. It's the beauty of brass. Or crispy paint on it. It's always a good idea then when you have your tank off to have a look into this tap and see what sort of block they're on. That's good. We're happy with that. Right. Yeah, definitely has a bit of work through in that fuel pipe. Going down to the filter. I think I'll actually just be removing it. It's a little bit. It's grand though. We'll be putting the pipe up from the primer pump straight up, a nice new solid pipe. So I'll go and try and lift this off now. I don't really know how much, but we'll find out. And bring it straight. Where did I put it? I put it over on the. Yeah, I'll put it onto just the workbench. So I'll just clear a place on the workbench and I'll lift that off. Let's see what sort of weight is in it now. Empty fuel anyway. Yeah, plenty of fuel in her. Don't really need much in it for all I'm going to be doing with it now, but have to get this lad out as well. Don't like the look of that. I hope it wasn't bodgered into it now as well or anything like that. I'd like to fit the proper bolt in that. I can thread it if I have to. See when F fine thread, have a tap there for it. Yeah, so someone just kind of hoped that it would go into the it's above the level of fuel there at the moment, so just that up. But yeah, no, I have a look in there with my torch. Let's see what sort of a thread. The thread don't look great, but I should be able to cut new threads. Put in a blank. I have a nice blank bolt there, put a copper washer on it. So that's what I'm going to do. It's going to drain some of this fuel into a can, strain it going in, and try then and see what sort of condition the tap is in, and we'll try and get that locked off properly. Just have a look through the bolts there. This is the bolt we want. It has to be threaded the whole way up so that I can cut it. It's a 9/16 head. So we'll just get our proper, that's our proper die, so we know that's the right thread. That's coming in as 3/8. Get the right one there, 3/8. Okay, so this sure is handy having these taps. That metric coach bolt has probably damaged things a little bit, so I'm going to have to be just a little bit careful, just make sure it's going in nice and straight. It should start picking up on its threads fairly lively. There we go, I think. Aren't that much threads in it because it does bottom out. If that doesn't work, I'll drill it and I will re-tap it the next size up. I think it's anyway dodge. It definitely didn't do any good now. Shoving in that metric lad into it there. Yeah. So look, we'll get it in some way, shape or form. I think it's fair to say we'll definitely manage something, but so sort of cleaning out the threads a bit, alright. Definitely after getting a bit damaged, there's no doubt about it. This is a brass fitting, I think. Am I right in saying that? Brass? So look, we'll cut him to length, and look, we'll just try. Cut him, we'll throw the die over him then to make sure he's doesn't have any, the threads are good right on to the end, and we'll try him for a fit. So I'll take a measurement of him in there where we need to be, and yeah, I'll come back then when I'm ready to fit this. So here's this little trick, right? When you're going cutting a bolt, put on a nut over it and make sure you bring that right up to the end. And then when you loosen this, after you've cut the bolt to the right length, it'll kind of thread it. I do have the dies there, but this is just easier because these you're working from the inside out really. So run it up there. This needs to be 10 mil long. That's what this needs to be. So I can run that up a little bit more there with my spanner. And use this as a guide. Then when I screw this off, then we should be good to go. I'll leave a bit more for copper washer. So about there is where I need to be, and keep this out of the way of my arm. And now when I unscrew that, if all is good in the world, all is good and right in the world, that should retread that, it should go back on easy. There you go. That's just a little trick there that I do. So let's go and get some copper washers for that. I don't know, is this going to be strong enough to hold the copper washer in place? Probably mightn't be. The threads are bad. But we'll definitely give it a shot anyway. Give it a shot. The thinner one. It's not. It's definitely going to seal. I don't want it going over the edges. Yeah, so that will do. So, copper washers do take a little bit of squashing, and if your threads are anyway gammy at all, it could easily, might be strong enough to hold it. It's the only thing I can say. That's a lot better now, it's shiny. You can see what we're working with. Just doesn't look like it's going in as straight as I'd like. Threads are a bit damaged. Right at the start. If we start this in wrong, we'll make a hames of it. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a job on this. Enough, I just looked here now. It's just a little bit on the level. We'll get her nut again. We'll just put it back on. Let's do a bit of file. Let's not flatten that up a bit. That's one reason why it's not really working great. Yeah, we'll just have to do a bit of that. I think it must be a matter of trying to flatten this and have it nice and level. Going in. And wanting to happen a start on it. A little thread, and that was the issue. The back of this tank is a little bit upward as well. If we get it started on the right thread, straight away we'll be okay. Yeah, see what's going on there. this when you cut a bolt. I've literally filed halfway through a thread and it doesn't really want to start with it. So I'm going to go mess around with this with the file and hopefully we will get it fitted. It's just going to be a bit of time needed. Got a chance it's going there. Let's see what it's like. Nice and easy. See if it'll pull. Does feel good so far anyway. There's another bit to go. So if it bottoms out, I'm just going to have to shorten it. Definitely going further than that, whatever you want to call it, did anyway. Only went in a tiny little bit. Definitely going in further, that's good. Definitely on the right threads, that's for sure. It's the same sort of resistance the whole way, it's not. Doesn't feel bad at all. The question is, will our copper wash oblige us? Usually what I do with this now is it still has a bit to go. It could be, don't want to bottom it out. Yeah. So we're just going to have to shorten it. That's what I think it's going to have to, which is okay in my boots. It's easy done. So if it's too short, is the problem. This is all right and way for just hopefully getting those out threads cleaned out. Definitely feels good anyway. Yeah, there's no cross threading there at all. So yeah, I did measure it. That's okay. I'll go and shorten this and come back, but at least we know we're getting there. So we're done. Going a little bit shorter. Probably could even be still too long, but I'm going to slowly take it down to the right size. Definitely want enough meat left on it. Do not want this leaking. And usually what I do just before I tighten it fully is just poke up the copper washer a little bit rather than having it hanging down. I can at all. Just bring it up a little bit more just before it gets a grip on it. Try and just get it pushed up a little bit. Suppose the span is the way to go there. We're not bottoming out again, are we? Could just be a touch too long. Starting to think we are, but we're getting there and we're doing it right. Yeah, so that's bottoming out. So take, what are we on now? Take 3 or 4. But look, we're getting closer every time. Down to the width of the nut that I used to keep it threaded, right? That's what we're down to. Needs to go shorter, we can do that, but I do like to have the nut on it because I can use that to retread it. Okay, we're biting there. That's good news. There we go. Okay. Oh, let's see this. that one to hold its fuel. Yeah, so just get a bit of clean white paper. It doesn't look too bad. The torch. Yeah. So far so good. Okay, looks good. So we'll call that done. See that coming out of that. So I'll keep an eye on it. Tightened up lovely in the end, so it was worth taking the time. So what I'm going to need to do now is get my can and start draining this. So to make sure everything's looking good up there. Yeah, it's not too bad. Alright, next step. So here's the rocker cover here. If you look here, the fuel tank is worn into that, as there was no rubber strips with the pads, so I put these on. UTP part number there, 63176. It's actually called a radiator mounting pad, but they just space things up nicely there. I have one of these where through the diesel tank on my other Ferguson 20 diesel at home, and not long after we got it. So it is important to put the rubber pads. So I've got 2 more of these. I'm going to put them all around, and that's just going to keep everything up and out of the way, exactly where we want it. I'm going to take the rocker cover off, going to have a look in there, see how things are looking. I have the decompression on there, but just to see is it working, and it is. So that means we can put it on inside, turn over the engine then as well. I might have to take off the bonnet for that and put the starting handle in from the other 20 diesel, and have a look at things like valve clearance and all of that, and make sure everything's okay. Check the cylinder head for torque, and if it's looking good, we'll put it all back together, and we'll see how things look. He wants this manifold changed as well, so this will be the time to do it. I'm taking off this because it's completely and utterly worn. You know, and that needs to be airtight. You know, so that's not. You can probably hear. You probably notice when I was revving it before, it was literally responding, and then it was just stopped responding. So things are just, see that there. It's just too worn. Simple as that. So I'm going to replace the throttle linkages as well. They're too worn and they're too sloppy, and there's too much play in them. So yeah, that's what we'll do. Try and get this pipe off then, and we get it into the vice. So these are things that I can be doing. I can be slowly loosening off nuts and bolts there. When you're screwing off this banjo bolt, be very careful that this pipe here doesn't bend. If it does, get a bit of timber. It comes with it. Yeah, and it is coming with it. You want to put something in behind it. So I get a bit of timber now. That just keeps it all in the same place, because it's a stiff pipe and it can be very hard to line back up. What I'm talking about is the one going down to the throttle there. See it? There. So it's wedging a bit of timber behind it there, right? Because the whole lot will turn, and that's not what you want. You'll end up with a kink there, right, or a bend. So we want this to come out, and usually it does turn with it, even if you've had it off before. So that bit of timber, and me putting a bit of leverage on it or wedging it into place there, should just sort it. Yeah, there you go. Otherwise, I'm telling you, that whole thing will bend. It's not the kind of pipe that will likes to bend back. Okay, so that's very, very grubby, so he'll get a good clean out. That has to dry out. So okay, it's the original style pipe, that's okay. So we're good. We're golden, as they say, golden. That's good. Just looking here, do I see here there is a washer and that here? Yeah. There's no washer on top of it, unless it fell off, did it? The revs are a bit erratic in this thing, alright. Anyway, we'll put one on it, of course. But, it's interesting. So the one on it there looks to be very, very hard, whatever the hell it's made out of. There's nothing on it at all. Yeah, so that's what I often see with these and take them off. They're so hard they actually don't seal anymore. So I'll put a fibre washer on. This is one of the parts that you get away using a fibre washer. Okay. All these little bits are going to make a difference. So taking off the venturi, there is no quick way about it. You have to go in with the open end of the spanner, and you just have to take your time. The throttle rods are disconnected. You usually can overhaul these, new bushers put in them. So I definitely inspect this. So you have to, you can't screw one of these nuts off the whole way because it'll push against, it'll wedge it, so you've got to kind of take it a certain amount of the way at the top and then do the same on the bottom. Your whole diaphragm, your pneumatic governor, does depend on this being fairly close to airtight. There we are. Broke the seal anyway. I'll make a new gasket for the one that I put on it as well. Nice thick gasket paper. It'll be plenty of that Indian head well sealed. And it will be good. Then I can test the heater plug out of this off to be able to see is it actually getting glowing. If it isn't, take it out, make sure there's a good air connection through there, all of that. The inlet manifold doesn't always get a great air connection because it's relying on two studs to get its connection, and paint and all that slows it down. So we'll make sure it's glowing good and red. If not, we'll clean it up. If still it's bad, we'll get a new one. They're not expensive. If the engine's hard to start generally, you know, new heater plug would make a massive, massive difference. These are just, take your time, kind of nuts, there's no quick way about it. They have a ratchet spanner for the open end, they don't have it invented yet for the closed, the ring end. They don't have a ratchet spanner invented for the open end, I don't think, that I'm aware of anyway. Okay, so that's that UNF fine thread nut. We're nearly off down here as well. And we'll get a look in here and see what her thing is looking like in the lots of coke in there, as they call it, carbon. Oh, we'll work it. Okay. Quick little look in here and see what's happening. Yeah, it's just a little bit oily and all of that, but that'll be fine. Lovely. So when I hitch up the battery, I'll be able to see the glove plug in there, the heater plug. Just there, be able to make sure it's smouldering away. So there's our pipe. It's all good, nice. I think they're originally brass. Very nice. That's the original style one anyway. There's a wider on the bottom and narrower on the top. Frost plug is okay, nice and dry. Looking for any more signs of anything that might need doing. We're in. No. This has come out as well, I see there. That has to go back in there, so we'll have to loosen that off, push the radiator forward, and yeah. Right. So let's see if we can salvage this part here now. That's what the next job is. We have to try and get this pipe off, so we'll have to put that on the other venture. This one's been a bit of an ignorant pig the last day now, coming off. So let's try and deepen it a little bit there. This, you really do have to pick the screwdriver that's, there you go, that's all I wanted, just a bit of convincing. And when I get this up a little bit, loosen it, give it another turn that way, and give it another quick deepen. So we can use that pipe again, it's fine. And this is no good. Right, another job done. Yes, actually, now that I think of it, speaking of cooling system, there's a little issue here. So the Jubilee is below the pipe. So what we'll do is we'll just loosen him off. 7mm socket on it there, ready to go. And we'll just put it up onto the pipe where it's meant to be. Nice new pipe this. Bypass pipe. And the thermostat's closed. How there wasn't a massive coolant leak here now, I don't know. I know it was a little bit wet, so I feel where the end of the pipe is, the castings there, so. Okay, I can do that. I'll check this when we're at it. Very loose. Okay. I don't think there's a thermostat in this. You can usually hear if there is. That could be a lot of the problem with this engine. Sheesh. Not a big issue, but it's just a because there's a little tiny little tab in the thermostat that it's in a hole. It's a little loose bit of metal, and you'll always hear it rattling when you squeeze the pipe. Yeah, I think that's going to be something we're going to have to take off the thermostat housing casting there. We're going to have to break this seal anyway to push it forward more, and we'll have to see what's in there. If there's no thermostat, we'll throw one in, make a new gasket, put it back together, and hopefully that'll be all. But this engine definitely needs a thermostat, so for that reason this rocker cover will definitely be coming off, and it'll be torquing that cylinder head just in case, when it's fitted, that it decides to leak. So plenty of things to do. So might start taking off this rocker cover. So I have all the nuts off that. Give it a tap the plastic hammer. There was no sealing washers on this there, so that'll be getting more sealing washers. How it was today is beyond me. The gasket's dead put. A bit of Indian head underneath that will work fine. So I'll take off the inspection cover off the pump and I'll see which cylinder is coming up to compression. valve clearance, as I thought, isn't that bad. So I'll still take out the rocker cover, the rocker shaft, and just give the head a torque while I'm here, because I just want to make sure that it's going to be fit for purpose. It's not going to go leaking. Head gasket. Yeah, that's not too bad. Like 12 tau, what to say, isn't it? It's actually written on the side of the rock cover. 12 tau for exhaust, 10 for inlet, I think, or 12 for both. Yeah, but we'll check all that anyway, and take out this, put it through the parts washer, blow out all the oil gallery in it, and run the torque spanner over the head in the proper pattern, and 108 Newton meters of zinc, or whatever that is in pounds, and yeah, we'll make sure that that's well torqued down, because if it doesn't have a thermostat, it's going to want to be torqued. So there's a bit more heat and temperature and a bit more expansion and stuff like that, and that's when your gasket could leak. So that's it for this evening. I'm going to leave it there, and sure we'll take up from here tomorrow.